I'm down on Glebe Island and behind me is the White Bay Power Station. Big issue, this one. It's the only coal-fired power station in Australia that the Greens want to save, by the way. I'm agnostic, I could go either way. I'm happy to talk about, my instinct might be to get rid of it and start from scratch. A lot of people say, no, too much heritage and history. Let's have that conversation. It might be more expensive to start again, or it might be more expensive to redo it. Let's just be smart about that. This is going to be a big issue for the ward over the next 10, 15, 20 years. What do we do with this industrial land down here? How are we going to develop it? What do we want it to look like in 20 years' time for our kids? The state government's just released the Bays Precinct draft master plan. It's really worth ploughing through and having a look at. It's very vague, it's got big ideas, 6 big moves, which is the new buzzword. One of the big moves is saving the power station, another one opening up the Glebe Island Bridge. We should use that document as a basis for starting a really, really vibrant local community conversation about what input we want to have into it. Big ideas, really big ideas. Let's out-vision the state government. Let's decide what shape we want our peninsula to be in 50 years from now. Let's ask our kids especially. Joe, what do you think we should do with the White Bay Power Station? What do you reckon?
I reckon we should knock it down.
Whoa! You heard it. That's from the 15 down with the kids. Okay, so okay, well that's an option. It's about our kids, isn't it? It's not actually about us, really isn't. It's about what they want or what the next generations want. But let's at least have the conversation, and I know a lot of my friends in Berkshire will be throwing rocks at me saying, Jack, you can't knock down the power. So maybe not, but let's talk about this. Let's have a bit of fun knocking some ideas around. What sort of ideas? Well, have I got some for you? Oh, a bit further along, that's where the old terminal, the cruise ship terminal was. Now COVID's absolutely monstered the cruise ship industry. So all the argy-bargy over noise and generators from a few years ago has died down. Obviously there's a lot of resistance to putting the liners in here. We're lucky, this is a big deep water port. It's one of the few parts of Sydney Harbour where big ships can get in. So there's that. But what about this? A lot of the new cruisers, right, can't get under the bridge anyway, the big ones. So maybe this isn't the best spot. Traffic's an issue. Big ideas, we'll throw it back at the state government. You want your big move to keep this a working harbour? Well, let's do that, but how about we move the Navy from Garden Island to Newcastle, and then maybe we make that the cruise liner terminal. We build a beautiful 6-star hotel, but a really tasteful one. Bit more tasteful than Barangaroo, Jamie, but shift in there. That's a better place for people to enter Sydney. Look at this gorgeous botanical gardens. You keep control of that. We don't have to put the cruise liners here. And we can do something else with it. We can keep some working, but that's another big part of this conversation. Big ideas. Let's move the Navy out of Garden Island. Makes sense. I'm talking about a working harbour. So I was a bit rude about Plastic Fantastics and the big rich boats. I got nothing against boats. I worked on them for a couple of years in the Med. Love them. The marina and the development down here at Rozelle Bay, it's brought in money, it's brought in activity. It's a good thing, right? So we are going to have a conversation about getting them under the Glebe Island Bridge, but we can sort that out. But as far as the working harbour goes, this is a good place to put some apartments, and there's a bit of zoning for that maybe in the master plan. While we're at it, can we put a ferry stop in here, maybe? Although we'd have to think about bringing cats in under the bridge then, but we can sort that out. And let's give Glebe one as well, put one in. So this is the area they're going to revamp. All of this. Somehow there'll be I think to the left there, Joe, that's all zoned residential, maybe, or orange blob, which is code for residential skyscrapers potentially. One of the things they want to do, if you look, you probably can't see from here, but where the ferry liner is, they want to put a raised garden, a bit like the old raised garden along the old subway in New York, which is quite pretty. That could work. The master plan's a great document. It's lots of big airy fairy ideas. Great. Again, it's about the detail, and it's about making our contribution in a proactive way now as a council, coming up with ideas, not just NIMBYism and opposition. It didn't work for WestConnex, let's face it. There are still people saying, no WestConnex. Got news for everyone, the tunnelling gear is halfway, up Louisa Road, so maybe not that far. We've missed opportunities with WestConnect, in my view, to negotiate. When you know something's coming, you dig your heels in and say, we'll give you that, but we want this and this in writing. Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Here's where the magic doesn't happen. So Lilyfield Road, behind me the main side entrance, West connects, this is the old railway yards at Rozelle. Absolutely feel the pain of the Lilyfield residents who have been impacted by this thing. A lot of people said, no, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it, don't want it. It's here, right? It's here. Okay. What council can do is make sure, for all the pain and suffering, for all of the pain in the arse of this, and I used to look after a bloke up here when I was a carer a few years ago, the parking issues, the noise, I get it. But what councils can't do necessarily is stop this. We can negotiate and make sure you get everything you want. So the big master plan is out for the Bays West. Railway Yards is going to become this magnificent state-of-the-art sporting complex, airy-fairy. Now's the time when our council has to be holding them to account, nailing it down, saying yes please, oh yes, and on the dotted line, play hardball. And for the Lilyfield residents in particular, and anyone in Balmain, but Lilyfield, I say just don't forget, it's a pain in the arse now, but 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you're going to have a metro station up there. You're going to have world's best practice park, greenway through here, if we push hard and make sure we do, and I will try. Your house is going to be worth about another $1 million, or all at taxpayer expense, right? So I'm not belittling the hassle of West Connects, but I am saying that there is huge advantages for us as a community got out of it as well. Not just for us, West Connects is making a massive difference to people in southwestern Sydney. It'll make a huge difference to business flow and traffic up and down between the ports and the north. And some of these state significant develops, councillors are bullshitting you if they say they can stop them. What we can do is play hardball and make sure these big, painful infrastructure projects come with absolute benefit to us. Sporting grounds, greenways, compensation if your house is dudded, right, obviously, and the people in Haverfield been totally screwed. Victoria Road, the idea is West Connects is going to get traffic off the road. Let's make sure it happens, get it in writing. There's lots of good can come out of these, but only if councillors get right on top of it. Instead of just trying to do the impossible and stop the tide from coming in, they make sure they take advantage of the tide and lift us all up with it. So let's take that approach to Bays West Precinct, and that's for the people of Lilyfield Road around here. We will get you a park, and it will be the best practice park in the world. Ahead, go to that master plan document, you'll see the ominous little orange boxes which all say things like, oh, might be suitable for tall building. That's kind of DPI code for residential folks. Most people in Balmain I've talked to said we just can't have any more residential, and I hear you. I reckon my gut feeling is what we really mean is we can't have any more cars. It's the cars, right? You build 500 apartments, that's 500 cars. Anyone trying to get to work in the morning along Mullins, down in East Balmain, anyone trying to drive a bus, dear God, whatever we're paying our bus drivers, it ain't enough. So let's think about it. If we say, okay, you can have your little green-orange boxes of apartments, but here's the catch, Mr. Triggerbob, Mr. Walker, Mr. Lend-Lease, whoever you are, no cars. Let's face it, most cities in the world, New York or Amsterdam or London, you don't buy a house in the middle of the city and have a car. You have public transport. Maybe the body corporate could own 10 share cars between 50 apartments, park them in the basement. When you really need that individual car, you organise with your body corporate manager, I'll have the car, you book it in. The flip side, I mean, there's going to be a metro over there. We'll have ferries coming into Rozelle Bay, to White Bay, ferries up the Gazoo, right? And you also, maybe the council could come up with a little electric shuttle bus idea. Anywhere on the peninsula, within 5 minutes, there'd be another little mini shuttle bus, make it free, get the residential complexes to help pay for it or staff it. And it bounces between here and the various, hubs and centres, up to Callan Park, across to Annandale, down into Jubilee Park, around through the marina. That's how we move around. The thing about overcrowding and then residential density is less about the houses, because you can make really lovely sustainable little apartments now, get them fitting together nicely with beautiful common areas and parks. It's the cars, isn't it, right? It's the cars that are driving us all batshit nuts. So we've got to come up with the idea, I think, of over the next 20 years, let's reclaim the peninsula for walking, for pedestrians, for bikes. Electric bikes are brilliant. Little buses, ferries, better for our bellies. They're going to open up that bridge. I mean, there's a million little ideas we could come up with, joined up thinking. We need to get get out there. And in this election campaign, let's come up with these ideas and throw them back at the state government and say, okay, we see your master plan and we'll double it, here's our master plan. That's the way you have influence as a local council. At the end of the day, this is state significant development. If the government wants to get nasty, they'll just go kaboom, much as they have done in many other areas. So we need to be proactive and positive. We need to get ahead of it and out-vision it. We use it or lose it, not just our spaces that are still to be developed, but our planning authority and our leadership capacity and our ability to think big for our kids. Because it's not about what we want to save, it's about what we want the joint to look like in 50 years. Yeah? Let's try that. I'm Jack Robertson. Vote for me or give me a go.